Oh, I think this is a me problem.
Are we live? Yeah, we are. Cool. All right. Oops, I done messed it up. Oh no, Clips
No,
went away. That's
yeah,
why.
Clips
Okay.
left the call.
All right. We're organized here, and I have some notes for ASMR. Yeah. So, how did you get involved in looping? What kind of crazy, sadistic minds do you all have to do something so difficult?
Ooh.
Josh, you want to go first?
I can go first. Yeah. So I guess as far as like looping specifically, so my background is actually with like acapella. I was a huge fan of like the Pentatonics, Home Free, and then like I've also like followed like the collegiate groups and like what they've been doing. So obviously that was like part of what was I going to say? That was like one of my main influences for like what I liked with music. And then I discovered like beatboxing probably around the same time. But then it was in 2016 when I saw a video from the Grand Beatbox Battle of that year. It was a battle between Thorson and MB14. And
That's a good one.
I think like, yeah, really nice. I think specifically them and the way they performed in that video. I was like, whoa, they're making all these sounds, a whole song with just their voice, obviously like with kind of like a cappella. I'm like, whoa, that's kind of cool. So I kept watching more Loop Station videos. I was so impressed with what they were doing. And then in 2018, I mustered up the $500 to get a 505. And the rest is history.
It's one of those things when you get the RC-505, because I have one. It's like, should I really do this? Is this going to work out? And then you get it and you're like, oh my God, this thing's so good. So Mace.
Yes. Ignore the people talking in the background, but
I don't actually hear them.
I discovered beatbox from Codfish. Yes.
Okay.
That's a big, like, he brought so many people to the scene, which I'm kind of glad about. But as soon as I started watching his videos, I was like, man, this guy's really good at like doing what he does. And he does it in a game that I like. He played CS:GO, and then I saw another video pop in my recommended like Grand Beatbox Battle 2018 Codfish compilation. I was like, what is this? And I had no idea he was like the world champion. I've been watching his videos for like a month, and so I had like zero idea that this was even a thing. And I was just like binge watching it and just like soaking up all this information. And then I saw Sorrow versus MB14.
Yeah, that one is nuts.
Specifically the way MB14 performed his first round and how Sorrow performed his last round, which just massive influences. That's what made me want to get into looping. So what I did first, because I knew I was gonna get, because I asked for a 505 for like Christmas, but that was like 9 months away. So in that 9 months interval, I downloaded a little app on my phone that's like a little a little voice loop station. I was like, oh my God, I'm so good. No, I wasn't. But and then I got the 505 and I started playing around with it. I was like, damn, this is hard. This is so hard. And it got to the point where it was kind of painful to make beats. So I picked up the 505 and then I didn't loop for like 2 years. And then, because I just solo beatboxed. And then sometime around like a year and a half ago, I was like, maybe I should pick this up again. And so I started looping and looping. I joined Discord calls. And then I really got into it about like a year ago today. A year ago in a couple days is when I posted my first ever wildcard. So yeah, that's how I got into looping.
I feel like people don't appreciate the amount of preparation. Because like you don't just like stumble onto the Sorrow, like what he did. It's not just even from a musical point of view, right? Like before the Mark II, like how are you going to accomplish harmony, right? And that was a challenge. And now, I mean, the combination, how do you balance the music portion and then the sound design portion? Because that they're really interact very heavily in looping as it stands now.
Mace, this is your alley, I think.
This is me. So interesting enough, before I picked up a loop station, I had no idea on any music theory at all. Like I didn't, because I mean I was
I'm a little
15.
shocked.
I was 15. I'm not like, why would I be learning music theory? I'm just like, I'm like a normal, like, whatever. Like, I didn't know music theory. And some routines fascinated me, like Jungza's GBB wildcard. And those routines that, like, felt so much emotion made me want to deep dive more into music theory. So beforehand, before I knew music theory, I was just throwing stuff together, just mashing it all and seeing what sounds good, like putting grand delay on slicer, whatever. I'm so cool. It's just a whole process. And once you learn about what every single little, like what each parameter does in each sound, that's when you really start to make music more and more quickly. And the blend of music and sound design is probably like close to, in my personal experience, like the second toughest thing when it comes to looping, because you can have all these great, amazing musical ideas, but then you can't put them in a song because the sound design isn't up to par with your taste, and that's always crushing. But as a looper, I personally go through so many ideas. So I got the Mark II in April this year, and as of now, I've already filled it up. Like all my memories, 100 memories are completely full already. So
And that's probably after deleting some of them and like, I don't like that, and you delete the whole thing. Damn.
I think I've deleted like 20 tracks and then refilled it back up and stuff. But even with that many ideas, most of the stuff wasn't up to my taste. But sometimes you make a really good idea and then forget about it and then come back to it with your new sound design knowledge and new ideas. And I think it all just comes from new ideas that spark in your head, because I feel like beatboxers have really, really good imagination. And when you think that way, it tends to blend more nicely.
Yeah, there's something about walking around with your instrument and constantly screwing around that does make some versatility. Boy, so music theory. What did you start with? How did you start learning it?
Oh, well, I learned a lot from my friends, Josh. But I learned
the acapella stuff.
Some acapella stuff, whatever sounds nice. I had to learn what majors and minors were. I took band class in high school, so that helped a bunch. But mainly, I'm a heavy sucker for YouTube. So I love to just soak up information. And so like I would go on these binges where I just watch videos on music theory and jazz and all this stuff, where what fifths are, what thirds, like what makes music sound good, makes it sound sad, makes it sound happy, and I try to apply. But if you're really trying to learn about music theory, this is the guy you wanna talk to, Mr. Joshua Ashua.
Yeah. Wow. I feel so complimented.
It's a great segue.
I guess. Right. Yeah, me and like my background in music. So I'm actually a classically trained pianist.
Oh damn. Okay.
Yeah, like my parents put me in lessons like when I was like 5. I was like one of those kids, like starting young.
I know a few of them.
So yeah, I did that for about, I want to say like 12 years.
Were you consistently practicing?
I was. So all in those 12 years, I would have like new material from my instructor to like practice, and then doing the piano pieces, but also I would learn like some music theory things in between. I remember she would do like flashcards on like, what is this note? How many beats does it get? Stuff like that.
Nice.
So I guess that's where like most of my foundation comes from. But I would say like on the flip side, for context, like I listen to a lot of like jazz and like a lot of like any song that has like jazz chords. I'll listen. Like I'm a sucker for like nice harmonies and stuff.
251.
Absolutely, that is the progression.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's
I think I know what it means, but I don't know why it sounds good. But continue, Josh.
I mean, I think with theory, it's not like let's use a theory to find why it sounds good. I feel like it's more like I like this, it sounds good, so let's put a theory to it. Like I think it's inverted, but that's me. I love written theory. I'm actually really bad with oral theory, which is terrible because I'm a singer, but I love written theory. But sorry. Anyway, continue, Josh.
Yeah, no, that was really good. I guess I was going to say that I guess with a lot of my approach with making loop tracks, a lot of it is just like coming up with harmonies, like just sing a note, sing another note. Does that sound cool? Cool, let's roll with it.
Nice.
I would say a lot of it is just doing what sounds good. I mean, obviously, like my musical theory background does help, but I would say like the majority of it is just do what you think sounds cool, and if people like it, then hey, you got something going for you.
Yeah, I wish I took that approach instead of sitting down and learning so much written, because I think what Mace discussed and what he did is ultimately far more practical in terms of being a musician and making music.
It is a little time consuming, but I think.
Hold on, I love to ban people. Let me celebrate the banning of this.
Let's go.
Oh, bam.
I just watched
that feels
live.
good. It's like I have very little power in my life. So having the ban hammer is like, anyway.
Oh man.
So the sheer amount of time in it, doing voice leading, screwing around, did you ever take moments where you stopped, you took a step back, and you started to apply theory and to like, that's a difficult line to walk, right?
No, that's a great question. I guess to that point, I don't think there's ever a point in like my creation process where I specifically say, oh, I'm going to use this progression or I'm going to use these intervals because in theory they sound good. Like, I guess like personally, like I don't know, a lot of it is just like do what sounds cool. That's my creation process anyway.
Sure.
I feel like for loopers, especially, we find stuff that sounds cool, and then later on we realize, oh, that's this. That's
okay.
Cool. And then we later think to implement that later. But I think in the moment when creating something, when you have that clean slate on the loop station, and there's nothing there, I mean, I guess you could have an idea in your head and you're trying to run with it, but when you make something, it's like you modify it so much from your original idea that's in your head. I feel it comes out completely different sometimes, and sometimes even like really like better. So, but we're not really active thinkers.
Well, it's there's there was a phrase my teacher used to use: do and then review. not like the opposite way. Or the worst thing is review while you're doing, which was my bad habit. And so she came up with that saying and slapped me around with it. It was good. Boy. So I find it incredibly intimidating when I walk into my room and there's a blank slate. And it's funny, I haven't used the RC-505 for anything but audio interface recently. But I used to make music videos with it because I have Python scripts and I can cut stuff up, and it turns into that acapella and acapella stuff. And I can show you guys, and maybe I can tweak the script so that you can use it. But short of that, walking in to a blank RC-505 is maybe one of the most musically intimidating things, other than singing with an orchestra or something. How do you stay motivated?
That's tough. That's the hardest thing. That's the hardest thing. That's what I was gonna bring up. That's the hardest thing for me personally for Loop Station. So before I went to ABC, excuse me, I realized before I went to ABC, my usual pattern with stuff would be like create, and then when nothing is really coming out of me trying to create, I kind of just fall back. I take a break, like 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, whatever it takes for ideas to start flooding back in again. So frequent breaks are very important. Never force yourself to make music, because if you do, nothing will be up to your standard. That's where I firmly believe. But
that's well said. There's actually, oh my god, this stupid truck that's doing social services, like collecting garbage. How dare they? There are two things that I love, two books, because I'm one of those, like, I buy like self-help books, like I'm that douchebag. But the two books I love are Make It Stick, which is a breakdown of a bunch of Harvard studies about memory and improving at a skill. And then the other one I love is The Power of Full Engagement, which is about managing energy, not time. And it's funny because I never intuited taking a step back. I always thought if I ram myself into this mold 60 hours a week, it'll go well. And that's the opposite of true. However, you're not, when you take these breaks, do you entirely disconnect, or are you listening to music and you're doing other things?
Yes. Depends on the break. When I don't know if you guys know about Battle of the Burgers, but excuse me.
I didn't know about it until
until
ABC.
recently.
Yeah.
So Battle of the Burgers is an organization created by one of our good friends named Teal. He's a very good American looper. He got 9th place for the wild cards. And so we were randomly in a call one day, and we were making jokes about just burgers, because we're young and humor, right?
Yeah.
And randomly he said something about trying to make a tournament where you win burger as a prize, like a burger from McDonald's. And with me, like, I blink and I open my eyes, and he ran with the idea, and he made this like there's been 3 battles so far. There was Battle of the Burgers 1, where I was vice champion, but if a very well-known looper, Epos, got champion. And it's a really good showcase of an online scene. I feel like it's a really good place to just throw ideas and see if people like them. But it's just a really nice community that, I mean, for my quarterfinal against Enhanced, I was wearing a Battle of the Burgers t-shirt to represent.
Nice.
But but for that competition specifically, number 2, which is like a 2v2 with Mr. Asuo, we were called the M&Ms. for that competition specifically, after our seeding round, and we got in, I had to take like a complete break, like because I needed to make one of my semifinals round super quickly, so I took a complete break from after my seeding round, which was like 10 a.m. to like 7 p.m. at night. I had to completely disconnect from music because nothing was flowing to me. And then I finally came back and then I made my round and it was good. But ideas for ABC, I would like stop and then just listen to so much Spotify and just like absorb ideas and stuff, which that I feel like is the much better option. I don't know
The
what Josh
concept
does, but
is diffused thinking. Thomas Edison, when he would get stuck, he would go into a chair and he would rest and he would have his keys in his hand so that when he fell asleep, the keys would drop and he'd be ready for a new idea.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, because he said that his most creative was like when he was like about to go to sleep because he had some hypothesis about like the dream state and like that being his most creative and stuff. So yeah, interesting.
it took me a while to learn to trust that. That's a hard one because sometimes it doesn't work or like it takes longer than you want it to. And then it's kind of scary. The community aspect is interesting because beatboxing, while certainly a new art form, it still had a couple decades. Whereas with looping, maybe this is overstating it and correct me if I'm wrong. I had never seen people take it seriously as an instrument and as a musical way of production specifically. It was always like, here's a thing I'm looping, and then I'll loop over that, right? And it was like, there's so many instrumental instances like that. So how do you interact and trade ideas? Because making things like you were saying, you listen to Spotify, but that doesn't super translate all the time to getting on a loop station. And I don't think it's a substitute for having people to talk to. So how did y'all find each other?
I can start with this one. Well, yeah, to answer that question, it was back in 2020 summer when I made my first like wildcard video for a beatboxing competition. And I think like the day after it got posted, I got this random message from some guy named Dom Tapper, who said he had a server called the Clip server. It sounds like create, loop, improve, perfect. Yeah.
Just like he invited me.
He invited me to this Discord server. Like he told me there were just like some loopers there, and they'd love to have me. So I joined it, checked it out, and I think it was just from there. Like I would say because I know like a lot of beatboxing servers with like just regular beatboxing. A lot of it is I don't know. It's it's not like at least like if you're just like some new person, it's not like the most productive place to be in. You'll be in the voice chat and it's just like, oh, I can do, oh, that's cool. Yeah. I can do.
I mean, that can keep you interesting, but it's like when I would join like creator discords. Everyone who joined the creator Discord did it because they're new and need information. So it was just a bunch of new people, and it took me a long time to find a Discord with like people who get 1 million views and stuff like that. So it's really it is hard to find, like, when you get into something seriously and you get really good, it's hard to find other people who are really serious about that specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, and
yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, to that point, yeah, like the Clip server was like a server of people who were like actually dedicated and they wanted to like share their stuff, get feedback, and I would say like those people there were a great like contribution to who I am now as a loop artist, I'd say.
something beautiful about that statement.
If you don't mind, I want to jump into this question.
Go
too.
for it. That's why you're here.
So, I had some contact with like solo beatboxers, prior my first wild card. Like I was in a server called Beatbox Community, and then like a really old server, which was like the first beatbox server that I joined. But that was mainly just solo beatboxers at the time, and I didn't really have a good place to show my loop station stuff because nobody really had a good idea on it. And so when I made my wild card for 5v5 Loop Station League Season 2, I got reached out by the event organizer, Sensei Beatbox. And so I joined a server called like Beatbox League, Loop Insider, all these Discord servers. But the whole premise of that event was that it was a 5 versus 5 Loop Station battle where two teams of loopers would fight each other or battle each other. And so the team would be 5 people, 4 people including one captain, and then the captain would give advice to the other 4 loopers who may not be as good. So it's a whole event based on learning and teaching and spreading like teamwork in like the looping community, and like showing or letting people advance in looping especially. And that got me some amazing connections. That's where I met 808 Bannon. We were good friends before he made his Loop Insider wildcard because we were both on the same team. And so yeah, that's how I got connected to the beatbox community.
I think it's maybe not talked about enough how important a social structure around something you're trying to get good at is. I'm sure Josh O, not Josh Dash O. Let's set the record here. Okay, everybody watching. There's no hyphen. There's no dash.
No dash.
Show some
silly.
respect.
No dash.
Anyway, I don't know if this was your experience when you were practicing piano. I came into opera and classical music like super late. I was like 18, 19, and I went to conservatory I was a little older. I was like 21 or 20 or something. And I had a stark realization. The people who had spent their entire life in a practice room didn't have terribly good social skills. So it was hard to like bond. So I guess my question is, when it comes to managing ego, because there's so much conversation right now about the toxicity in the community, with looping, I'm not hearing either of you complain about the toxicity or bringing it up. So how do you keep a social network that's positive?
No, that's actually a really good point. The first thing that comes to mind, I would say, I mean, obviously with looping, there is like an investment. You have to pay $500 for this machine. So that if you're willing to do that must mean like you're serious about it, and like you want to like be the best you can be on it. And I guess with that, that just means like if you are serious about it, like you're more open to like talking with people. Like you don't want to bring anyone down because like this is like something that everyone is so invested in, and like you don't want to like break any like relationship that came from that, I guess. That makes sense.
A little bit like people who pay attention, that sort of a thing. Except it's not about attentiveness, it's about what you said. Yeah. anything that you guys are working on right now. No pressure.
Ooh. I mean, like, at least me, music-wise, I know. I mean, coming back from the American Beatbox Championship, I put like a lot of effort into that. So I probably won't do anything like super huge in the future. I do plan on like making some videos of like some of my rounds I did there. And I actually am looking into like more like YouTube content things.
No, I totally
like,
get it.
Not necessarily like a 3-minute loop station track, but like more, I don't know, like something comedic or like
just
yeah,
stuff.
something like that. Stuff. Just yeah.
And that's the best way to do it. I have too many. One of the mistakes that I had to stop doing, and one of the things that comes up a lot with friends of mine who are doing a lot of content, you can't really plan for what people like. You kind of just have to throw shit against the wall until something sticks. And that's what's tough, because trying to make content around music, specifically looping, that's a time-consuming process. Because even though, Mace, you have 100 memory things filled, I imagine that took dozens upon dozens of hours. That was not like a casual thing.
And most of the stuff that I have there, I would never release on any platform ever.
That's a hell of a statement.
It's not up to my par. It's not. I mean, obviously, it's still music, but the want.
There are more concepts.
Yeah, more concepts.
True.
But what was the question you asked Josh again? It was the.
What are you working on right now?
Working on right now, yeah.
And content was in the context of that.
So, first off, leading up to AVC, I was also getting ready for college, and I was traveling, and I didn't really have that much time to loop. I made 2 of the rounds that I had like a week or 2 weeks before the competition, and I mean, they turned out really well, but I still didn't have enough in case if I beat Enhance. So I wasn't really counting that I was going to beat Enhance, and then I beat Enhance. And then I used my 2 other rounds against Galouche. And then after that, the night of, I realized, oh crap, I don't have any more rounds that I want to perform. So both of the rounds that I used in the small final against Josh, I made in one day. Both of them.
Wait, both of them?
Kinda, yeah.
Here, I'm gonna mail this to you really quick. This is it's a dynamic mic. It'll handle this. I totally caught that. I don't know what was gonna happen. I was like, this could go terribly. I'm glad that worked out.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I basically made those in one day. The first round that I used against him, that was a previous idea, which I completely formed a new concept around. But that one I messed up, but we'll get into that later on in the interview. But so I made both of those rounds in basically one day, and it was so investing and mentally draining for me. And so I made a sole decision with my mom that we are going to I'm sending all of my loop station equipment right after the event right back to her. So it's like it's out of my reach, and I won't have any looping equipment for the next like 2 months. So
that is so. I hate to be that like old fucker who is like, but you're so young. But it's true. You're young, and this is a level of wisdom, and there's a bit of confidence, right? Like you don't feel pressured, and so there's a part of this that's joy, but also a little bit of confidence.
Yeah. But that was I really I need to focus on school as well because I'm going to college. I'm an engineering student, so there's like I don't have that much free time. Woo. But but I feel if I get into a nice flow in college after like a fall break, maybe I'll grab my loop station stuff back. Maybe I'll start practicing for a new event. But but so but I won't be looping for the next 2 months. So
I reached out to KBA and he's like, maybe hold off on the interview till I get back in the flow of university.
Yeah.
Reach out to me later. So
that's an interesting approach. I like, how do I say this? Something similar to what you said about like, you know, it's not up to my standard and I'm not going to post it. And traditional logic for social media says, if you take a turd, make it content, right? Like anything and everything and just splatter it everywhere to kind of, especially when you're started. But I learned that Vocoder deleted his entire YouTube library for that reason. And that shocks me a little bit because I almost like the goal, you know, like, why is this something, like, where does this pride come from? And like, it seems to be a positive thing for you. It's not like you're not like afraid of other people's judgment. It's for you. Maybe you are afraid of people's judgment, but I just made you look cool and tossing that in your lap. So how do you manage that? Because content like that and managing that can be very emotional.
Well, for me personally, I mean, I'm not really worried about other people's judgment because it's my music and I own it. But but for me personally, because I've seen it happen so many times, I will have a certain standard for what gets uploaded to my channel, but I will never delete anything from my channel because there's always going to be someone out there who will like feel like so like sad that maybe it was their favorite song or maybe they felt emotionally connected to it or something and now it's just gone forever. And maybe they just thought it was really cool and now they just can't watch it. So I don't want to be able to take that from somebody. So
thank you.
Everything that gets
because
uploaded
that's
to my
happened
channel,
to some of my favorite channels.
Yeah,
And it
everything
made me
that gets
emotional.
uploaded to my channel is gonna stay on my channel. But I will have a certain standard for what gets uploaded to my channel because as artists, I feel like rather than YouTube content creators, we have a much higher standard for what gets uploaded onto our channel and what makes us our brand, because I feel like sometimes we feel like we can go even bigger than some other big names that are already out. Like there's always a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to kind of echo the sentiment, one of my favorite YouTube creators, Sukuchi, I love this stuff. And by the time I found his channel, he had actually largely stopped posting. Then he deleted everything. And I was, yeah, just like everything. And he had videos that were brilliant that put, oh my God, he did a Mega Man cover with stop motion. Like the music video was done with stop motion almost entirely. Little cutouts of Mega Man. The great, like, you know, for the like little lemon shots that Mega Man does. It was whatever that cereal is, Pops. You know, it was a lot, and it was a very successful video at 1 million plus. And he just nuked it. So when there was another channel that came up called Preserve Sukuji, and then his description is like, I'm probably going to get taken down, so here's a G drive. So now I'm like, it's my precious hoard. There's a bit of a sense of loss I can't help but think, Mace, how do you relate to that? Because that's a very mature decision.
Like, how do I relate to Tsukuji?
What
Or how
makes you understand the emotional impact of content just vanishing?
Ooh. Okay. Well, I've seen it happen a lot. Like, Vocoder, for example. I've seen, some of my favorite comedy sketches have just been removed from YouTube. Like, something I would just watch. I'm a big anime guy. And, sometimes when I'm watching something, the website I was watching it on just completely disappears off the face of the internet.
In the middle of
And
like
it's
My
like-
Hero Academia, and then it's like, yeah.
It's like, oh, sorry, this website domain doesn't exist anymore. but like, also, I didn't really get too in depth with this, but I watched a couple videos. But I believe Markiplier and one of
Yes,
his
yeah.
friends
Moist.
made a channel, Unis Honest.
Unis Honest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's a major example, because I have a bunch of my friends from high school binge watched that, like as soon as it came out, watched every single video. And when the channel got deleted, all of them would always talk about it and stuff, and I was like, I don't know what that is, and they would always like mourn like all the videos being deleted and stuff. So I mean, I guess I kind of think I kind of got it from that. But I just know that if I delete something, at least someone is gonna complain, or even if nobody complains, at least there's gonna be at least one person who won't think that my decision was right, or won't think that that was something that, yeah, like it won't make someone happy that I'll delete something. Like, taking something away from somebody is not really ever, I mean, not always a good thing. So
Moist Critical has like made some of his first videos were like FPS commentary videos, and he deleted them. And recently he's like, God, I wish I could have those back. Just like, because he deleted them because I think it was just like embarrassing, or like he just didn't like he cringed looking at them. But now he's like, God, I wish I had those. Or so
yeah.
I wanted to show you all, I don't know, I'm going to put this on stream, but I wanted to show you all the script that I wrote to make music videos, and there will be a reason for that. But that, aside from recording the tune, all of the video was automated.
I'm watching it now. Really?
Yep.
All automated.
Well, think about it. So what's really cool, what makes music videos difficult is the precision. It's the time. And so
Right.
that actually lends itself very well to automation. So I guess that the reason I bring it up, I have to make up a reason, because that's not why I brought it up. The reason I bring it up, how much of this, of not posting and having this standard, how much of it comes from just the amount of time it takes to make something you like?
Josh.
Can you repeat the question one more time? Sorry.
When you want to make a post and you want it to be good, do you want to spend a lot of time on that? Is it I want to spend time because I love it and I want to do the best that I can, or I want a specific result with my content? I don't care how long it takes. I just really want it to be good, and here it is.
Hmm.
So which on those, and I mean, like, it will vary, but the process of that decision making, I'm interested in.
Yeah, at least like me, I know, like with my videos, at least like even just like the loop station wildcards I make, like one, I do want to like show progression, like in my looping skills. I want people to see that like, oh, like I've improved, I've done this new thing. And then even like with uh like the videos themselves, like the editing, I know like I've I've actually like been trying to learn how to do like proper like um what's the term, like color correction and
Yeah.
stuff like that to make it like look nice. And yeah, that's all to say. I like personally, I do like to uh, do my best with each upload and like try to like one up everything else. Does that answer
Yeah,
the question?
it's not about how much, it's not about either how much to upload or how much time, it's about self-improvement. Is that what we're kind of getting at?
Yeah, that's yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's part of it.
All right.
I agree. I think that loopers are just a different breed, man. I think that since we're
Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on.
we're just this community.
Continue. Looper's a different breed. Sorry, we got to take a moment with that one. All right, continue.
Okay.
I'm just built a bit different.
Not built different, but I think, I mean, we're weird, but like it's with music these days, like real, like not real music, but like the industry, like with like pop and rap and that stuff, it's not necessarily about making a song that's better than the other. It's about fitting into the mainstream. And with loopers, I feel like there's always this want for self-improvement, which often causes artists to fall in and out of flow and in and out of mainstream, quote unquote. But it's um like Josh, I also feel the want to upload something that's always better than the last. Always show some sort of improvement or some sort of new thing, some sort of new knowledge capability that would make something worth uploading. And I wouldn't necessarily say that right now for me it's a struggle, but I would say it's kind of what's driving me forward right now. What's keeping me up, keeping me looping, and I think it's the addictive part, finding new stuff and seeing what people have to say about it and what people like about it.
That's interesting because I shit out content. I do like 60 uploads a month sometimes, and I'm trying to boost it up to 90. It's automated, right? And I do these interviews and I can sit down and clip it up, and I work at home doing phone calls. So in the lulls that are there, it's boop, boop, boop. That's it. So, but what I love is, to my own detriment, I love the process. I love tinkering. That's why all this stuff is automated. I'm like, jump cuts are insipid. You've done 5 of them, you know how to jump cut. You want to sit there and do hundreds of jump cuts a week? Really? You think that that's added quality? How does that not drive you insane? I'm not projecting. Or bitter. Talk to me about process. Because we touched on it early, right? but the process in making something for someone else, right, becomes a piece of content. And so how do you reconcile that? Spending a lot of time on something for self-improvement versus making something with someone else in mind. That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. That is a very important question. Because I feel like this is a controversial opinion, but if you're not making music for yourself, it's not really it's not really
Yeah, right. That's what I thought.
it's not really music. For me personally. For me. I mean, of course it's still music, but it's not your music. It's then a collective, because then if you're making music just to put it out for like for I guess for like the audience to see, putting out music for the audience, which I love seeing audience reactions. I love seeing what people think about my music, but I don't make music for the audience. I make music for myself, because like that's a really tough question, man.
It is. It's something I've had
deep.
to.
That's a thing I'm gonna think about for the next 2 months. Well, I'm not.
I had to wrestle with that after I graduated, and I got what I needed out of music. I was done. It was like I no longer have a need to express in such a grand way as opera. And what I had spent so much, and I made a promise to teachers who gave me like free lessons. I had a teacher who gave me free lessons 5 days a week. And my dumbass was like, can we do 7? And, you know, she was a singer from the San Francisco Opera House. She was a chorus member in that. And that's really tough. That's a tough gig to get and to do. So they made me promise. They said, pay it forward. You better fucking keep doing it. And you better teach it. And so that in combination with, it's hard to say. I think it's really difficult to measure the value until someone gets their hands on it and gives you a reaction or a statement. Teal Beatbox, Josh O, your looping inspires so many around the world. Using your skills on stage was exciting for everyone to see. I can't wait for the things from you.
Thanks,
we
bud.
love Teal.
We love Teal.
So I feel like, was it once you release it, it's not yours, right? Whatever that statement is. Specific to painting, is once you're done with the painting and you put it up, it's not yours anymore.
I've never heard that saying before. That's interesting.
It's the judge the art, not the artist. It's an extension of that, right? Like why Wagner still gets played. It's not because of his personality. Wagner was an asshole. Now you said that you guys got to think about it. What gives you the pause? What are you like trying to wrestle with in your mind, if you can verbalize that?
I would say that what I'm trying to wrestle with in my mind is sticking to ideas, because I said the whole excuse me the whole, like, I have my loop station full already and I didn't have enough rounds for ABC is kind of mind-boggling to me, to myself, because I keep on holding on to these ideas and thinking that, oh, I'll perform this one day, and then I never look at it again, and then I just try to keep on coming back to it, but I can't really think about it. And that's a big thing to wrestle with, I guess, because when you're a looper, and you have your instrument always on you, like your bass instrument, like imagine if like you're a guitarist, but you have your hands, but you don't have your guitar. It's like you know what you want to play, but you can't play it.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
I used to play a lot of guitar, and I'd bring in these like little tiny like hand things and like little fret things. It was much easier to be a singer. Kind of, but so that's interesting. You're saying that part of, and correct me if I'm wrong, part of the way that you reconcile using your own ego and using your own existence as a musician is communication in a way. You want to organize these ideas and have them, like, you don't want to give up these ideas, these creations. And so that's kind of what keeps you in the balance of making for yourself and making for others. Is that fair?
Yeah, like wanting to make my ideas come to life, but the struggle that keeps me in the loop.
Ha. Ba-dunch.
The loop. Oh, that's crazy.
Hold on one second. I gotta do this.
That's
I'm gonna break
hilarious.
this thing one.
Please don't break it. Please don't.
It's all right. You can't, like, this is like, was it the 72 or the 52, 58? I think it's the SM58. That's like fucking indestructible. I think I'm fucking that up. It might be the SM57, I think. Whatever. Some
don't
sort
say
of
that about my AKG D5. Oof.
I love AKG. This is C414. Because I'm fucking bougie.
I just want to say something. I dropped my mic so many times on stage. I don't know if you guys saw, but like at the end of every round, I was just like, I just threw it on the table every single time. And I watched back, I'm like, I'm such a douche. I'm such a mean guy.
That's
But
funny
then like
though,
the whole
because
round,
like,
I'm
that
like,
is,
yeah.
that's part of beatboxing, right? You can't take it away from the battle context. Not yet.
That's the whole battle stuff. That's something I want to talk about.
As far as competitors go, you're one of the most uplifting and like you show appreciation during the battle, even to the other person's tracks, which
Yeah.
Lesage doesn't get that yet. He'll get it when he
I
watches
imagine
the
there's
video.
movement.
It comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't risk moving myself. I'm too white and I might hurt myself.
That's fair.
We call it being chronically Caucasian. Merch soon to come. But do go on.
But I do like that point that you bring up, Eclipse. That I, especially during online battles, I used to like, if you watch back in videos from Battle of the Burgers 1, like my semi-final versus Watt, I think. I remember I did my rounds. I was super unprepared. I did my rounds, and then that's a common thing with me. I'm super unprepared. Anyways, I did my rounds, and then I would stand there while he's doing his rounds. I'd just stand there menacingly, and then I watch back on the videos, and I'm like, I don't know, man. That's not the vibe that I want to give. And so I swore to myself that, like, no matter if it's a battle or if it's just like a showcase round battle type thing, I just want to enjoy the music. So like, if something's good, I'll dance to it. Like if I feel the energy, then fuck it. I'll like, I want to hype up my competitor, because I don't want to be that guy that where someone is doing something really crazy and I'm just sitting in the corner like, this is whatever.
There is the strategy to just stand there and just like dead face your opponent, but I mean, you put on a show for the viewers, hype them up, everyone's there to have fun. Why bring the mood down by just
Yeah,
like,
this isn't an MMA weigh-in. Like, anyway, it reminds me, I had a roommate. We watched a lot of MMA together, and I actually did boxing. And he didn't. So he thought when Anderson Silva, when he was still untouchable, when after knocking the shit out of somebody, he would bow, he would, be all respectful and stuff. And my friend was like, that's disingenuous. And I'm like, no, there's a connection that you have when you beat the shit out of each other. Like, it's real. And what's great about you guys is you don't have to fear about CTE and concussions and what have you. Was that why you guys?
I don't
chose
know. I don't
looping?
know with the camera setup that was at ABC, maybe a little bit, but
oh snap! That's a good one.
That overhead
That's
cam
a thing.
was.
That's the thing I
That
want to talk
overhead
about.
cam was shaking. That overhead cam was shaking.
It was just an effect. They really wanted the Jason Bourne. Events, live events,
Ooh.
sound checks. I imagine, like, talk to me about it, because I can't even imagine. I've done one live event with the Loop Station, never again.
Like in general, or like the ABC, or like what?
Let's not get you into the position where you have to name names. Let's talk about what a good experience is for you, and where some of the things that you would like to see as events mature and trying to cater to loopers, so the good and the bad and the ugly.
Well, I mean, I think in general, like, there should, I mean, well, one, there should be sound checks, and I think there should be like sufficient time, particularly like with looping. I know, like with I can say, like, I mean, like the GBB, I know a lot of artists who participated there from the 20.
that was a big thing. Like,
yeah,
a lot of the loopers, like KBA's elimination was like a lot worse than it could be. I think he could have easily qualified, but there were some things. It's like, oh, here's like this like 30-second, minute long sound check where you just come on and check this thing. Okay, roll in the next person.
Yeah.
Yeah, like especially if people from like all around the world was coming to Poland to participate in that, like all the effort and money, the least they could do is like a decent. I guess not even just for like the performers, but like, for the audience, you want your event to sound good for them. So I think a sound check would be the bare minimum.
Yeah. And it's looping, the dynamics are so variable. So to get a good sound check would take time. The instance where I brought my loop station to a gig, it was a great gig. I was dressed up as Skeletor, and like had to battle in an actual like wrestling thing. I mean, there must have been a lot of cocaine involved in this decision making, but the thing that went wrong is that it was mostly an EDM concert. And I know some sound, but we had a sound guy. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be using this loop station. And then as I got up there, I realized that the giant speakers are pointed at the microphone.
Uh-oh.
And I would have caught it if we had a sound check. And I had to get off stage. I had to stop and get off stage. Yeah. It was a big yikes. So
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. He paid me anyway. So
let's go.
Yeah, it was expensive paid plus a little more. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I had a bad evening, cried in the corner, said this is why my father left, and then, got up and continued. That's a different kind of drop. I don't have a mic for that. My dad's a lovely human being, by the way, and made great sacrifices for my brother and I. Just, you know, awesome, dude. Teal, that's so sad. It's a joke. God, now I want to make another joke, like without, you know, my mother, but my mother watches the content, so I love you, Mom.
Yeah, so the first day of ABC was in a boxing ring.
It's amazing.
So the Loop Station quarterfinals. It was funny during Jerry versus Galouche, I think it was. Jerry's Loop Station was like half off the table, and he was jumping up, and you know the boxing ring, it sort of like has some give to it. Yeah. So it was like Galouche during Jerry's round is like holding up Jerry's Loop Station, like trying to keep it from falling down.
I remember seeing that. I was like, oh, please don't fall, please don't fall.
I also don't want to name names, but just say that boxing ring was, if you were to say that boxing ring was a good idea for ABC, I would say you would be wrong. But I would say that the people who didn't feedback there were very lucky. We were very lucky that we knew some of the judges because we talked with them beforehand, and then they realized that we had no sound check. And keep in mind that like half of the loopers there, it's their first ever live event. Like it's my first ever live event. It's Bannon's first live event. Josh had one live event previous to this. It's like we're all inexperienced to live. Jerry had never done a live event before, and we had no sound check, and that was a crazy thing for us to experience. But I would say is that what did I want to talk about? I think it was Galouche. During Galouche's first round against Jerry, I was watching the first battle to see how the sound system would be so I can make minor adjustments to my loop before my battle. And I was listening to Galouche's round, which he usually, in my opinion, has like good mix for on stage and in video. And so I was listening, and his first round was completely sub bass. It was the bass, the stage was shaking. We couldn't hear any other minor details because he had like a filter with EQ on it. And so when he did one input sound, it completely feedback in that one bass frequency, and it was the loudest part of his whole track. I'm not shit talking Galouche. I love him so much.
Well, it's not his fault necessarily, right?
He beat me.
Yeah.
He's better than me. But it was really unfortunate to see. I mean, I'm glad he passed on to the semifinals and went on to be a vice champ. But it was mind-boggling to see because someone who I had thought had really good mix
had it figured out.
Yeah, who had it figured out, who had gone to ABC 2 times prior and had done many live events. For him,
if he's having so issues with it,
yeah,
and so gonna be like? I made so many last-minute decisions before I went up. I turned down all of my basses, like 5 decibels. I turned down my kick because I usually use, people usually use 1 EQ for a kick. I use 2.
Nice. Yeah, get a little click going and up that low end. Yeah.
Turn some stuff down, but it was kind of stressful. But I'm very lucky.
Quarterfinals turned out well, yeah. I think. I'm
very proud.
Well, one of my favorite performances of quarterfinals. I was like, okay, Mace, I see you.
That was actually a funny thing that so I'm, as I said before, I'm kind of good friends with Bannon, and so when I saw him in real life, I was like, oh my god, right? So I was walking around with him a lot around the hotel, and I mean, there was probably like 12 people that came up to us, like 12 groups of people that came up to us and stopped and like, you're Bannon. You're 808 Bannon. Oh my goodness. I saw your wild card and I saw Biscuit react to your wild card. It was great. It was amazing. And then they'd be like, "Who are you again?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Mace. I got one place below him, but that's okay. You'll see me today." And so like nobody really know me. But then after my performance, um literally all the same people came up to me and they were like, "Dude, I didn't know you were that good. Oh my goodness, what?"
That's always a weird thing to hear as a musician.
It was a good feeling. It wasn't like you guys were fans. No,
I thought you sucked. Like that kind of thing.
No. But it was awesome to see people react to my rounds, especially the second round. That one was really good.
I'm gonna get into some of the questions we have in the chat, but I'm gonna be selfish because there's a parallel to one of the questions that I have. And I want a producer on this podcast because this narrative has become, and I'm not being critical of you guys, it's just artists have the bigger platform, right? Like, and most people I think sympathize with artists, and I don't think the challenges that are unique to producing beatboxing are well outlined, because there are unique challenges. For example, how do you set up? Do you have a table? Does everyone have the same table for the RC-505? Is there an adjustable table? You have to just kind of play it like a key guitar. Guitar, yeah. I mean, Josh, you're a pianist. That'll probably go well for you.
Josh, do we have the same table?
Do we? I'll check right now.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so, Josh. But I mean, a lot of beatboxers use the same equipment. Like I use the same headphones as some good beatboxers. I use the same. I have the launch pad, and so I use the same like laptop stand for the launch pad as some beatboxers because it's good for travel. It compacts easy. But
I'm gonna look that up.
The launch pad?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So kind of a flex, but I arrived with the most devices to ABC, which was also very stressful because no, don't mic drop for that one because since I had more devices, I had to be extra wary of feedback because so I had the Mark II, a launch pad, and Voice Live 3 Extreme. And if you know anything about second device loopers, that is the exact same setup that MH brought to GBB when he feedbacked. So a big thing about the Voice Live is that it is very, very prone for feedback when using the voice feature, not the guitar feature. So I spent most of my time prepping for ABC, preventing feedback, putting speakers in my face while I perform and stuff. And it was stressful, but it got the job done. But it was
that's not the idea that you had to prepare by putting speakers in front of your face. The idea that that's a skill set that you can win or lose on is asinine.
I mean, look at these bad boys. This is
those event
just like
2020s.
No, they're Fluence AI61s. They're good for the price.
Y'all need to start doing Amazon affiliate links, because that way, if you make a deal with the devil, all your expensive gear gets a high percentage, or at least the same percentage worth more value.
Let's go.
Yeah, buy my merch, or buy good shit, but I get a cut.
Buy his merch.
I don't have my Chronically Caucasian merch out yet. It's been a work in progress for like almost a year. Boy, what would you like to see? Sorry, go for it.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask Josh what he did to prep for feedback for ABC
Um,
or for live events in general.
just live in general. I mean, at least like the way I have my sound set up, I like my EQ is not like blown up like so many decibels as I've seen like a lot of other loopers do. So I mean that's one aspect. I know like I would because before the American Beatbox Championship, there was another event called the Legends OG Edition that I was asked to do a showcase at. So like I did some of my material there, and that I mean that was a learning experience in itself. Like seeing like what sounds with a feedback, or like just what I can improve on in general. Um, back to the original question. Yeah, me, I just turn all my stuff down, I guess, and hope that the sound guy would boost that signal up so that yeah, it would work
That's
out.
a total
Sick.
crapshoot.
This just came to mind. Halfway through the competition, I checked out BizKit's watch along stream, and he had the output of the stream hooked up to a 505, and he was EQing manually to make it better audio for his listeners.
That's rough because
For the first day.
I don't know about the Mark II, but the RC-505 does not have a very flexible EQ on it. It's got four
Not
settings,
at all.
and
No.
oh my god, the high end is a shelf for 5K and up,
hurts.
which is like a mess. Like 5 to 7K is so
It hurts a
nasally,
lot.
and then yeah, that's tough. You guys literally have to fix feedback with 4 bands of EQ.
It's a little better now for the Mark II. We have, is it a Q? Do we have?
Oh yeah, Q where you can dial it in.
Yeah, I think we have
Yeah.
1 or 2 or something. I don't know, but like for the lows and the highs are exactly the same. I don't know why, but the mid lows and the high mids are you can change the value and what you want to boost or take away. So like you can go around 500, you can go around 800, whatever. It's better now. You can make better quality sounds, and some of the distortion effects actually have EQs in them, like
Good.
okay EQs, like boosting treble, bass, or middle. So it's like basic EQs for loopers. It's good. It's good for us so far.
Yeah, I've been trying to make Ableton work with the RC-505, and it's been a much better experience. It turns out a DAW is pretty good at working with sound. There's a question before I ask about the Mark II. There was a question about battling versus concerts or exhibitions. And I don't even know if I could answer this, but what would you like to see differently in terms of the opportunities to perform, obviously sound issues aside, but artistically?
I would I'm reading from Drop Barracuda his messages. The first thing that came to mind is like at least the loop scene. I guess maybe also the beatboxing scene, but also like looping specifically. The way it is now is you're pretty much just making like pre-made tracks that may not necessarily be like battle oriented, like they're not meant to be directed at an opponent. It's just like playing a song at a concert,
Like a DJ kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like 2 DJs performing their sets. And that is to say, like, if that's the case, then like maybe it would be like a nice idea to like try a non-battle format, like have some like exhibition, like Dropper was saying, some kind of showcase with like a lineup of just every looper.
The fanboy in me was so excited when I saw Gene doing it. Because Gene is like, oh my god. He's such a smart and capable musician, and then his technique is bonkers. And what he does specifically, and I'm sorry, I won't go down this rabbit hole for too long. The thing that Gene does that I think is remarkable is he navigates. So this is always a problem that singers have, right? Navigating registers, right? And different genres of singing have different ways that they address that. And what Gene has done is he's taken vocalized sounds in some parts of the register, and then he just does different kinds of singing. So that was it. Oh my god, what was the one where he did
Metamorphosis?
Metamorphosis.
Yeah.
Just not fuck that up because yeah, that thing is I believe it's enharmonic. I think he just like went with like a 505 or something like that. It was something. It was not. There were sharps and flats, and man, technically and musically, those are both really impressive things, I think.
Oh yeah.
Who do you guys? Because I know we talked about Thorzane, and we talked about Sorrow. That's who initially got you into this stuff. But as far as decision making goes, as far as exploration, who challenges you and who do you get inspired by?
Okay. This is a big thing because I feel like a lot of people these days are inspired by a lot of old loopers. Like they're inspired by Sorrow or MB14, or they're inspired by Rhythmine. Not old. He's not an old looper.
Yeah.
But part of me dies every time people are like old school. It was like 2018. I'm like, but
fucking
old.
Okay, but the people who I really look up to and really drive me forward for musical ideas is the new young talent, I would say, or like the talent that hasn't really shown up yet. So
I mean, they have all the new ideas, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if you have reacted to Malik yet. Malik is a French looper. Oh my goodness, he has a shout out on Beatbox International with Mark II only, and it is one of the most technical Mark II tracks I've ever heard in my entire life. It's crazy. I feel like I'm more pushed for technique and music separately. Mm-hmm. It's so people who push me for technique is like Malik, Mr. Suo, like those are two big ones. Definitely check out Mr. Suo. He is a very underrated looper. And sometimes you, Josh, you push me for technique a lot. You push me for technique and music. So, but then people who push me for music is like Josh, Egway Bannon, sometimes Matei. I like Matei's music a lot. And big fan of KBA too. So, those are those are big inspirations to me personally.
That's tough when the younger folks are inspiration. That can be stressful sometimes.
It's because I talk to them all the time. I'm good friends with most of them, and every time I hop into a call, I'm always humbled. I'm always humbled by something new, and it's so fascinating to see that every time I jump into a call, something is new, or every time I jump in, somebody does something crazy or does something on accident that could be insane. It's really interesting finding a good community with people who you might see as better than you is I think it helps me push forward so much more. But I want to hear what Josh looks up to.
Yeah.
I want to hear what he likes.
I guess, were you referring to like beatboxers and loopers in general, or
I mean, if you have
just
someone else.
yeah, when you refine and you're trying to like, because it's one thing like I'm inspired to do this and start this, but there's another approach entirely where you're saying there's this little nugget and this approach and this idea that is very exciting. I'm going to take that and work with it. And so like a little bit more of a refined inspiration, right? Specific, if you will.
No, yeah, that's okay. That's a good question. The first thing that comes to mind, like what inspires me and pushes me, it's actually my Spotify weekly. That's now this is okay because I don't think I've actually explained this to a lot of people. I'll explain some context behind that statement.
Not me.
I don't listen to the popular genres that beatboxing is based off of, like drum and bass, house, dubstep. I don't. I really don't listen. Like my only references. I mean, I can listen to it and like I'll enjoy the experience, but like I don't go out of my way to
actively seek. Yeah.
Right. A lot of the music I listen to that inspires me is like more. I mean, I explain like jazz or like electronic music that has more like melodic jazzy elements. Even like pop and pop related music that
the
inspires me a
arrangements
lot.
in pop music are fucking brilliant.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah. So catchy. And I was gonna say something after that. Yeah, like the I guess like to with at least the kind of music that I like to make. I don't know. I've kind of like branched off into this weird, like I don't know what genre I would define my music as. It's just a mishmash of everything, like my jazz, acapella, pop.
Yeah, it's pretty poppy in style,
Very
but then
poppy.
you also add for certain drops like electronic elements and different sort of. I mean, especially with like beatboxers are very well known for like throwing in little genres and stuff and like, oh, switch it up to a reggae beat or something like
Right.
that.
This will date me right here, but I feel like it's similar to how LimeWire was when you're looking for alternative rock. It was like grunge, alternative heavy, alternative AZ. Like it just, I mean, if it wasn't free and highly illegal, I would have moved on. Don't do it, kids. Don't do piracy. Besides, it's all free now because musicians, money, living. That's a rabbit hole we're not going to go down. So, now this is a good segue, I think, because I'm self-aggrandizing. The specifics of these inspirations. How different is it to bring those ideas into the Mark II versus the RC-505 vanilla?
I would say with the Mark II, I mean one of the great features of the Mark II is that you can sequence a lot of effects. So like certain parameters can be automated to at like certain parts in the measure, and I would say like that feature has allowed me personally to apply a lot of like musical ideas I hear like in my Spotify weekly, to apply those ideas to these loop tracks that honestly you can't do, like I don't think at all on the Mark One, or at least can't make it sound good or do it fast.
The Mark II has been given, and I'm sorry, Mace, I'll let you answer, but the Mark II has been given a bad rap. I feel like the RC-505 needed to be patched. Like, it wasn't perfect either. But maybe because, you know, that was old at 2018 or 16. That breaks my heart, I can't tell you. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know what the expectation was when Mark II came out. I felt like it wasn't fair, but maybe I'm not. I don't compete, so maybe I don't understand entirely what the feelings were. But Mace, translating inspiration into the Mark II.
I gotta say, my Mark II specifically, I have had little to no problems with like bug error. I mean, of course, when you these days it's kind of sad, but like when you buy a Mark II, it's you kind of have to expect sometimes like once or twice you're gonna crash, and maybe you'll lose some stuff, like stuff that you'll be currently working on. Or maybe during an actual performance, you'll encounter a bug where if you try to switch effect banks, just won't do it. Yeah, but with all of those negatives in the Mark II, I have to say is way better than any device I own right now. I could confidently say that if I actually had enough time to prepare for ABC myself, if I devoted enough time and I just only had a Mark II, I would have put on a performance that I'm happy with. It is a wonderful device that brings like, it's for me personally, who thinks about music like analytically or numerically a little bit. It's with the sequencer options, it is so much easier to get musical ideas down. Because with the Mark I, you would have to run into like where in order of effects, if you wanted to use a granular delay, which is based on a musical note, where you can pitch it to like any note on the piano. If you wanted to use that with other effects on top, you would have to record that sound raw into the Mark I, and then add effects and track effects later on into it. But if you were trying to do the same thing, with a Mark II, you were gonna have to record the sound raw in, because you can have that grand delay parameter on effect A, so like the first effect going into the chain of effects. And the Mark II brings so many more new possibilities, and that's not saying that the Mark I has not reached its full capabilities yet, because we have like the loop insider battles that was revolutionary even after the Mark II had been released. And I will say that there are some loopers that like can still do amazing stuff that would beat any Mark II user with just a Mark I. It's crazy to see. Like you will see in the ABC videos, Rhyme's Judge Showcase is probably the best live thing I've ever heard in my life. It was insane. It was like a mind-blowing experience for me, because I would ask him, because he pre-recorded sounds because he didn't want them to feed back. I asked him later on. I was like, what was the bass that you used? Was that like a synth? You just like recorded that in from your PC? He's like, no, it's all Mark I. I'm like, what? My brain is broken, dude. You can't do that to me. So it's the Mark II, in my opinion, is one hell of a machine. And adapting my ideas into a machine, like keeping them in there with it's much easier to get ideas down onto paper when you think more in depth into looping itself.
I think the thing that comes to my mind, and I don't know if this is an apt comparison, is 6-string guitars versus 7-string with like a whammy. You know, like a whammy bar, even with a Floyd Rose, is going to go out of tune. It's going to happen. You know, that big fat string on the top of the 7 is not going to always punch unless you're like a gent master, where you have 9 strings because you're a man. There are complaints, right? Like, I think that's inherent to an instrument. There are limitations, and there are failure points. Guitar strings break. They go out of, you know, strings go out of tune. And God forbid you have a Floyd Rose. Holy shit, that was a mistake for me. Like, you're sitting there in the back and you're like, well, I can only do this. Now the string isn't lax enough, so now I need to pop the nuts. You know, that's the reason why people who play 7 strings have like 2 or 3 on stage. But I don't know. Josh, I guess, I mean, as a pianist, right? You're familiar with the ins and out of a piano. You can do quite a bit, right?
Sure, yeah.
Would you approach the Mark II in the same way? In terms of sitting down and, like, if you were to do jazz improv on a piano, right? You have an outline, you know what the instrument can kind of do, you know how to expand upon certain ideas on the piano, you know, how you might want to change keys, etc. Now, you're definitely newer to the Mark II than 15 years of piano, but do you see any parallels where you treat it like an instrument?
I guess to answer that question, I would say no. I guess a lot of like the Mark II, like the way I use it, a lot of it is just like finding effects, see what works like in the context of the track that I'm making, so everything could be different. And you know, just like I've tried doing like improving music with just like a set of effects and see how that goes.
Mine never sound good, ever.
I think I'm better off just, yeah, like preparing material more than just doing it.
That's interesting.
That is to say, it is like I can't really approach it the same way as with just play the piano. Boom.
Would it be fair to say that you treat it as a means of composition as opposed to an instrument?
Absolutely. I think that is absolutely correct.
Mace, you had a reaction at one point. Your eyebrows popped. Not to make you into an awkward situation, but answer yourself. Answer for your eyebrows.
No, I'm kidding. But I would say that when you said that the Mark II or even the Mark I is kind of like a compositional device, I completely agree with that. But I would also say that you can almost play it like an instrument, because I don't know if people really consider DJ equipment like an instrument, like playing tracks I already play, but then messing with them live. It's I see people like PSN and the way that he performs and how technical he is with the Mark I and even the Mark II. It's crazy to see the way that he can flow in and out of rhythm and pop back in to the Mark II, and the way he like he knows exactly what he's doing with each thing. It's basically muscle memory. It seems like it really feels like I'm watching someone just like play an instrument from memory. Like someone is like he's fluent in the language of like RC-505, like technically speaking.
That's poetic.
It's amazing to watch. I really like just jeez. I would say sometimes I watch the videos of him looping just to see like the way that he moves the knobs sometimes. It's crazy to watch. It's just inspiring.
One of the things I regret we don't have time for. We had talked about doing this, but I really wanted to pick your brain because looping is probably the aspect of beatboxing that I have the most interest in because I don't. For me, the challenge and the puzzle of figuring out how to do it live doesn't like get my juices going. What I like it is the production simplification and how fast that is. I can hit a button on my keyboard that I have here, my MIDI pad for my audio PC, and then feed that into the RC-505 based on like the measures I outlined for that. And then I can have it stop on a dime. And that's actually how I can do those music videos that are so precise. Is it's the RC-505 feeding into OBS. So it's a signal chain is Mike, Scarlett, 6i6, Ableton to the RC-505. So yeah, I love production shit. I don't even know, like, I'm probably super fucking bad at it and there's a way easier way to do it, but I like making it complicated. Like, that's where I really enjoy that stuff. For me,
So-
music, go for it.
Lesage didn't watch ABC live stream, so he doesn't know about how Josh had to restart his round.
Oh,
Okay, let's go with the drama.
He also doesn't know how I messed up my first round, but Josh, go
Well, I was gonna say just it would be nice to do this again, where you guys just show us some of your favorite shit on YouTube, and like have context for the react, where you actually make it a little more educational. But the drama. Who screwed up?
Oh.
Both of them.
Both of us. We're both screw ups.
We both screwed up, but we had a fun time.
We did. Yeah, we made the most of it. Yeah, I guess like with my small final against Mace, I was doing my second round. And I was building my sounds, making it work. And then I pressed the button that it made the machine do something that I didn't want it to do. Now I'm actually like thinking in retrospect, like maybe it was like partially me, but maybe partially actually like some kind of bug with the machine.
Like, did I do that?
Yeah, like
That's
yeah. So I mean, I restarted, and from there, thankfully, nothing happened. But yeah, that's my story.
I loved watching Mace during it. He's like, "Come on, give him another. Let him restart."
Yeah, I was gonna say
want to end on that. I didn't want to.
I really
That's not how you wanna
appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know if I tell you that formally.
I mean, if he had that bug and then stopped midway through his round, he probably still would have won anyways because of my first round. That was a mess up and a half. About that. So on the second day of the event, which is just the finals, since I prepared those 2 rounds right before, I didn't want to implement the voice live, so all I brought was my Mark II and then my launch pad for MIDI buttons for buttons to send signals and stuff. I also had a round that used the sequencer. That was my first round, and so to test to see if my sequencer sound was going to feed back, I turn on my my metronome, so then it sends a MIDI clock to the launchpad, and when it does that sound, and I'm like, oh, okay, that works. And so on the Mark II, you have to push the metronome button twice to reset it back into the position where if you record a track, it starts the metronome. I accidentally pressed the tap tempo button twice.
Oh God.
So
Oh,
my tempo for my track, it was supposed to be 80 BPM, so like mid tempo, and it was actually like 109, 110. So like slow house, and so all the I silent recorded a bunch of stuff in the beginning, which didn't also work because I didn't have the metronome on.
Oh God.
So it didn't do anything. So that's when I had to like stop my round midway between and then like record the sound. But I realized I messed up when I recorded these kicks that I did where they're supposed to sound like it's supposed to sound
Nice.
like that. But then I recorded it and it sounded like it was like
Almost
so
like
bad
the kick
because
has a ping pong delay.
It was, yeah, but it sounded like it was so out of time, and people were like, is this like 13, 14 time measure? I'm like, no,
That's the funniest thing to me.
Extreme jazz.
because my kicks, I had the delays that I had them on, because I did the kicks with delay. I had them on a millisecond value instead of like quarter note and eighth note, so then it didn't adapt to the new tap tempo. So once I realized the kicks were messed up, I was like, oh, this is user error, and I cannot restart my round. It wasn't a bug. I need to just keep on going. And surprisingly, with all of my rounds that I had before, and even when I was messing up then, and my next round, I felt no stage fright whatsoever. It was so weird. Like, being at this event, I feel like since I knew I'm a newcomer looper, I have nothing to lose, I didn't have any stage fright. So when I went up there and I was just my first round, I was just fucking everything up. I was like, yeah, this is the best shit ever. I'm totally gonna win this battle. It was funny to experience, but
Well, that goes back to something we talked about earlier, which is the interpersonal, making music for others. And
yeah. And also a little off topic, but I feel like the second round I had against Josh was my favorite to perform there. It was because I saw someone in the live stream thing while I was performing it, because it was kind of an emotional piece. When I was performing it, a couple of people said in Bizkit's live stream chat was like, why does this feel like a goodbye? And like he feels like he's ascending and stuff, and I was like, that like touched my heart and stuff, and so it was like awesome to watch.
It's great. I the last thing that I want to touch on, which is when you make a mistake on a looper, ouch. I remember listening to like one of Sorrow's performances, and he was flat just a hair. It kept repeating, and I was like, this hurts me because I'm a judgmental asshole.
I think it was like Enemy during GBB.
Had to restart, yeah.
He completely.
He had to stop.
He just stopped, and he's like, I can't go on.
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah, when you screw up your tempo, you can't channel your inner so-so. Like,
your inner so-so. I'm keeping that.
That kid is
down the shirt.
Fucking coot nanny.
When you mess up,
when
you mess up, it is one of the worst feelings, because you kind of know that's gonna like show up on the internet somewhere, or like something's gonna happen, but like, and all these people are watching, but a lot of the times the people in the crowd actually understand. So like, try to like keep, this is a message to all loopers, like if it's a live event and you mess up and you're like messing up like this the whole time, like me, no one's gonna focus on your mess up. All the people like on the online chat will probably be like, what the fuck, this is so bad, whatever. But
or
like
they'll think
everyone
it's
who's actually
14-4.
But all the people who are like actually there live, they won't care about your mess ups. They'll only care about your well, they won't care about your mess ups. They only celebrate your successes. The people live, people actually there, people you can see, they don't try to drag you down. So don't
Yeah.
be afraid of
Uplifting.
beatbox events.
Well, it makes
Don't be
sense,
afraid of
right? If you go
beatbox
out of
events.
your way to go to a live event, you want to have a good time. You know, you like, it makes more sense if you want to have a good time to, I don't know, enjoy things despite the lack of perfection. Looking at you, internet.
One of my favorite people at ABC was a solo beatboxer named Ghost. He was amazing to meet. He's
Yeah.
such an amazing
Ghost is in our
Such-
chat. He's great.
He's there?
Oh, not
Not
now.
to-
I
not
don't
right
think.
now, but he
he,
shows up.
Okay,
He's
okay.
in here.
It's super
Occasionally.
flattering.
It's great.
Like,
But
you know, I make a lot
he's-
of. Sorry, go on.
I'm sorry,
He's good.
sorry.
No.
He has an amazing personality, and it was so awesome to meet him. But both of his performances on the first day, his microphone died. Both times.
He dropped it too many
Oh.
times.
No, but his tag team performance that was
raw.
absolutely awful. That, like, not their actual performance, but like what happened to them was absolutely awful. But my favorite moment of the first day was when his microphone cut out, and he realized his microphone cut out, so he put his mic down and started beatboxing at the crowd. And then I don't know if he knew, but when it came back in, he put it back on, and it was like super
Perfectly in
punchy, and it was perfectly in time, and it was amazing. And he owned his performance even when he messed up. He had so much confidence, and I love that. I love it when people are confident in their performance. So it was so amazing to see. And I
Had
felt
to do that
I was like
a few times.
my like heart dropped. My heart dropped when it was like, oh shit, the microphone's getting sketchy, and then he put it down, and we were like, oh my gosh, he's crazy. And then he put it back up, and we're like, oh my
That's hype.
gosh, he's
That's super hype.
You'll see me in the first row of all the videos. It's
Yeah.
it was crazy. It was so awesome to see. But
Do you guys watch
I'm
any esports at all?
a little bit.
I did.
Yeah. There's a MVC 3 where the commentators just scream bionic arm. And there are a bunch of mistakes being made in that exchange by both players. But the hype was fucking real. And like, I still go back to it like every now and then because I love to hear bionic arm. Like, the commentators just popped. It's great. Anyway, yeah. Sometimes mistakes allow for situations that are more interesting than they would have been otherwise. I want to do this again. I wanted to. It's so much of what we talked about would have been great to have sort of like, here's what that sounds like, or like, you know, here is this person that really inspired me and why. Because I do think there are a lot more people interested in educational reacts than people think. Because it's weird, man. It's weird.
Showing Lesage videos, I have no loop experience, so I can only tell him like what I know base level. Like, the MkII has a sequencer on it, so that's what he's using.
Yeah. No,
That's all I
it'd be
know.
right because it's so weird. So going back to conservatory and everyone living in a practice room having no social skills, I'm not bitter. I had this interaction. One of my first interactions in conservatory was, oh my God, everyone's gonna love singing, and I'm so excited for this singing. Aren't you excited for this singing? Pff, nerd. Now she switched majors and became a doctor, so it worked out for her. But I was shocked when I started doing React content. And my shit would do so well that I got recognized at work. still earning like 14 an hour. And so I would just like, I told them like, honestly, I thought if this ever happened, I'd be making way more money. But it was crazy. I had a mask on and they recognized me. So I'm shocked at the level of appreciation there is in sort of like a music education and appreciation. And I'd really like to see that with looping because I'm a selfish bastard. So I'd love to do this again. I gotta go because if I don't clean the fridge, there will be consequences. Anything you guys want to finish
I wish
on?
you luck.
We got some bad carrots. That's the worst. Like, you know, you could have eaten them and then they get slimy and you're like, I know the inside is still good, but now, you know.
No.
You're in
I
denial.
basically just don't purchase perishables because I know I will neglect using them.
Well, the worst thing is like, I want to be healthier. So I've been getting more vegetables, but we shop at Costco and it's just the two of us. So it's like we get, I want to eat carrots. They're high in vitamin, I don't know, D or some shit. And like they're 2 giant bags of baby carrots. My wife is like, "Why you gotta eat those carrots?" I'm like, I don't want to have a bad tan. And it turn orange, which actually happens if you eat enough carrots, which I think is a cool factoid. But anyway.
Let's go.
Anything you guys want to end on?
I don't know if this will ever happen, but if any loopers or anybody who recognizes me, I guess, come say hi. I mean, if it's not me, then okay, you're kind of awkward. But if it is me, I'm very nice. I don't bite. Yeah, I love to talk about looping and beatboxing and stuff. So, yeah, hit me up even sometimes.
Josh?
Follow my Instagram.
Yeah, I'm actually was gonna do this the whole thing. I'll give you a shout out your socials.
Yeah, to end off, I mean, I guess, yeah, if you see me, stop on by, give me a high five. I'll make it worth your while.
I'll fly out for that high five.
I'll get you 2 high fives.
Hell yeah.
You're living dangerously.
No,
I learned that you have to
that's
look
the
at the
deal.
elbow.
Ooh.
I'm a high five misser. It gets weird.
A chronic high five misser.
Well, you know, listen, it comes with the territory. You know, I eat mayonnaise for no reason at all. I'll just open a jar and I'll be like, oh God, this is what they mean by chronically Caucasian, right? So I have even worse ones. It's great when I cover R&B and gospel artists that's appreciated because I need to, like, I'm a guest in those genres, you know what I mean? Like, I can't, yeah, I'm very much like, the right thing to do is be the outside appreciator looking in, right? And to not kind of co-opt it. So I use a lot of self-degrading humor. And people like it, and I'm glad because I like white people jokes. All right. Well, for anybody watching the VOD, socials. I will smack you in a video game if you don't check the socials. Mace, Beatbox, Josh, O, no hyphen, no dash. Get right with God.
Well said.
Man, we will. I'm sincere. I think we have to do this again. And I would show you the music video script thing, but it's so janky. It's like I put it together with paper clips and Scotch tape because it was literally the first Python thing I ever tried to do. Because I made a music video on Instagram and I was like, this fucking sucks. I'm not making music. I'm sitting here making 1-minute videos after a week. This sucks. So then my brother's an engineer, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I'll show you guys what I have.
Maybe I could help you too, because I'm a computer science major. I'm learning
shit
right now. So
cool. You're gonna look at my code and vomit.
Oh, this is a little fun factoid, but maybe maybe in the future, because of the field that I'm going in, I want to help boss or maybe some other corporation or whatever with the field that I'm going into, making some sort of device or something. So with my, trying to learn stuff like that. So hit me up if you want to learn about that stuff, or like I want to help.
I will clean up the code a little bit. It's a joke between my friend and I. My friend is like, the reason why it exists is my friend, because I was such an amateur, and every time I tried to follow him, it would hurt my fucking brain, but it made me a better person who writes code. We have all of these different functions. Like, it started out with like music video cut script, music video cut script 2, music video cut script 2 improved enhanced, and now we just make fun of it, and so the function names are fucking stupid. Nice. I'm glad for great. VS Code's like tab autocomplete, because anyway.
True.
All right. I will actually go clean the fridge now. I've been procrastinating.
Yes.
It's been fun.
Yeah. Some pictures of the carrots.
Great interview. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for coming on, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had fun here.
Good. I try to make that happen, because when it doesn't go well.